Chineke na nke pụrụ m ihe niile. Onye ọ bụ naanị ya na-azọpụta. Onye ọ bụ naanị ya bụ okwu ya niile bụ ihe na amen. Anyị wee na-asị ezi ebube dị ngọzi na n'ụtụtụ na-eja mma na nsọpụrụ site n'ebighị ebi ma ruo n'ebighị ebi. Ise, ise, ise.
Welcome, my amazing viewers. Thank you so much for joining me on my program once again. I appreciate you wherever you are joining from. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please kindly subscribe to my channel. Click the notification bell so that you'll be notified each time I upload a video. You will be among the first to receive it. Thank you so much and remain blessed. If you are joining me from Africa, Asia, Europe, America, Australia, or any part of the world, I thank you very much for your contribution. Please, each time you watch my video, go to the comment section and put down your comments. That is where we learn from each other. We learn a lot from the comment section. I don't speak alone. I am speaking with you. You can equally contribute. You can criticize if you so desire, but do it constructively so that we can learn from one another. That is why we are here. Thank you so much for joining. Remember, you have to say what is happening in your own area. Whatever happens, if you see something, say something. Don't be silent. We cannot allow the conventional media to continue to change the narrative. We cannot allow the conventional media to continue to play down the situation. We will continue to bring the situation the way it is and say it straight the way it is without hating anybody. We are not preaching hate speech. We are not talking down anybody. We say live and let live. And for those who say we will not live, just like the Fulani Janjaweed have said, they will not live either.
On November 6, 2021, citizens of Anambra State came out to vote in an off-circle standalone governorship election to elect a successor to Governor Willie Obiano, whose tenure ends on March 16, 2020. It was an election that was preceded by a lot of apprehension, particularly on two important scores. One was the prevailing atmosphere of insecurity that had pervaded the entire southeast region long before now as a result of separatist agitations of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, Ipob. The security situation became accentuated months to the election as the separatists vowed not to allow the Anambra elections to hold. The killings and sporadic attacks on individuals, public assets, including those of INEC, became accentuated. The second reason for the uncertainties was INEC's decision and insistence to introduce a new system of accreditation of voters using a new device called BVAS, the Biometric Voter Accreditation System, a device which must recognize the facial and fingerprints of the voter as originally captured in the INEC register before that voter can vote. Before now, this device had only been used in two separate state constituency by-elections, and so its infallibility and reliability had not been tested, and yet INEC had insisted on this device without an option of a fallback position. The security situation was a challenge to the security agencies and the federal government, but as it turned out, the litmus test, particularly that of impartiality, was passed creditably well. For the records, the police deployed over 34,000 personnel. The Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, the NSCDC, complemented with about 20,000 of its personnel. The Nigerian Army also deployed about 5,000 men, with the Department of State Security also making a sizable deployment. These were enough to ensure the peaceful atmosphere we saw on Saturday and Tuesday as the polls and supplementary exercise took place. The elections may have come and gone, but there are issues raised, particularly as people of Anambra again demonstrated yet another unprecedented level of apathy to a process that enables them elect a man who has all powers, including the power of life and death over them. In an election where over 2 million voters were expected, the total voter turnout in Anambra State election is a mere 249,631, a turnout of less than 15%. Even in Ihiala local government, where some miracle had been expected to occur because of the 140,000 plus voters on the register, the apathy was even more. At the end of the elections, the candidate of the All Progressives Grand Alliance, APGA, Charles Soludo, was declared winner with a total of 112,229 votes. His closest rivals, Valentine Ozigbo and Andy Uba, trailed behind with 53,807 and 43,285 votes. Now, the Anambra election has raised a lot of issues. First, How do we deal with security in a general election? Secondly, is the deployment of beavers, a device that has no doubt reduced rigging to a very large extent, but equally has a high rate of failure. On Anambra State specifically, what could be the reason for this consistent voter apathy? We will be examining all these puzzles shortly, and our guest is Chief Victor Ume, the former national chairman of APGA, former senator, and APGA's chief agent in the just concluded election. Meanwhile, INEC has issued the certificate of return to the APGA candidate, Professor Charles Soludo. The ceremony took place at the INEC office in Awka, the capital of Anambra State.
And will dedicate this victory to God Almighty first, but very fundamentally to the ordinary men and women of Anambra who believe, still believe, and on whose shoulders and belief and mandate we're all standing, and by the grace of God, we will never disappoint them.
Very warm welcome to you. Thanks for joining us on the program Jigsaw. My name is Benga Aruleba, and our guest is here. My pleasure to welcome Chief Victor Ume, former Senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, former National Chairman of the All Progressive Grand Alliance, APGA. And of course, I must say that he played a very key role in the election that just held. APGA's chief agent. Is it chief coalition agent or chief agent?
Well, state coalition agent. Yeah.
You led your party to victory yet again. And that will be how many years now from 2006 up to now, except for maybe a period of 16, 17 days.
17 days in 2007.
Yeah, that was the period that Dr. Andiuba had sway until the court said no, this matter has not ended.
Yeah.
So it's like APGA has found a home in Anambra State.
Put it. You are correct.
The remarks. Chief.
The politics in Anambra State right from 2002 when the party was registered. Remember that the first election was in 2003. That APGA participated, the first general election.
First general election, 1999, APGA wasn't born.
No, APGA was registered in 2002, in June 2002. So the first general election it participated in was in 2003. And it made a loud entry into the political space in the entire Southeast and in Nigeria. Because that 2003, Dim Chukwemeka was our presidential candidate. So, being the presidential candidate of APGA, he gave the party immediate recognition in the southeast part of Nigeria for obvious reasons. And of course, in the 2003 general elections, APGA won everywhere, swept the polls, but it was running against a PDP that was led by General Olusegun Obasanjo. So he didn't like Dim Chukwemeka Odumegwujukwu's emergence in the polity, and he set out with a hammer to kill the party, and that set the ball rolling for a huge fight of resistance against the federal authorities then.
But probably that time he didn't reckon with the infighting within his own party, the PDP, that time, in Anambra State. Don't forget that Mbadidoju was also up against so many other powerful forces within the PDP in Anambra itself.
Yeah, a lot of people were disenchanted with Mbadidoju's performance, not only within his party, but across the state. So it was a case of PDP trying to change their gear. They denied him ticket. He joined the Alliance for Democracy, became their candidate in the 2003 general elections, but he was not noticed in the election at all. So it became a straight fight between APGA, the new party, and the PDP. And to the shock of their lives, APGA defeated PDP everywhere, and they resorted to manipulation of the results to see their candidates take over victories won by APGA candidates in all the elections, both National Assembly, State Assembly, and the gubernatorial. But we took the gubernatorial as a test case. You know, that was when my duty as a state coalition agent for APGA started. I was the state coalition agent for APGA in that 2003 general elections. P2B was our candidate. So when we finished, well, people may say stealing is not good to use, but actually they stole all the victories of APGA, all the results, yes, falsified the collation, but we were able to pick the polling booth results, which is the foundation to any election results. You can find out.
And unfortunately, the one to the tribunal allocated no vote to any other party. Only PDP scored all the votes.
They didn't bring any other results. We had, you see, that was the mistake they made. They ignored the EC8A ones, the gubernatorial election results at the polling units, and went to the collation level to allocate figures to PDP. But on the day of election, they did it in the National Assembly election that came a week earlier, on the 12th of April. So we saw that they gave out the polling unit results to party agents. They proceeded to put figures for the PDP candidates during the collation level, from local government level upwards. So I saw it, I studied it, I prayed that they will make the same mistake on the 19th of April. So on the 19th of April 2003, the gubernatorial election held. Alas, they did the same thing. And I told our party people, because I was leading the party in that election at that time, I told them to go all out for the polling booth results. Once elections are conducted and they issue the polling booth, just get them and run away from the polling unit. So our people took it because having learned a lesson from the previous one where we won, and they changed the results above. So our agents were trained to look out for the EC8A ones. On the 19th of April, exactly the same thing happened. They shared the EC8A ones in all the polling units. Our agents gathered them. By then, I had gone to the INEC headquarters as the state collection agent. So from there, I was monitoring what was happening. They were returning the EC8A ones to a central point, actually at Mr. P2B's village residence. So people were already waiting for the result to come. So as they were bringing them, they were taking everything, stacking them local government by local government. So by the time they decided to doctor the results inside the neck again, I told the REC then, Alhaji Suleiman Hassan from Kano, I don't know whether he's still alive. I told him, don't announce this result, because what you're announcing here is not the correct result. By then, I had been battling with our local government collation agents that were returning the results of the collation to me at INEC headquarters. So they had calculated everything, and I've got one landslide. So I told him, don't announce it. He said, oh, walai, I will announce it, people bring them. So when they go and doctor the result, they will smuggle it in, and they will put in the final collation. I said, this thing will not stand. So eventually, they announced the PDP winner. They turned Dr. Chris Ngige, who lost the election, as the winner of the election. And that's how we started. That was how the journey started. 2 years, 6 months or so. Yeah, 30 months. So we had to slug it out at the tribunal. I was the PW1 in that trial, if you remember. Yeah, I do. I was in the witness box from September 1. That was Justice Nabaruma-led. Nabaruma-led of blessed memory, a very great man. So I was there for near 1 month, September 1 to September 29, 2003, tendering all the polling booth results as the state collection agent and being cross-examined by a battery of senior advocates. That's how I got strengthened about litigation. So they interviewed me, cross-examined me. They couldn't impeach my evidence. They couldn't disorganize me.
This
so
last
eventually
election,
we won.
Yeah, of course, that laid the foundation for ABGA to continue to build up.
Yeah, for Anambra. So
witnessed a lot of litigations.
Yeah, finally we took over in 2006.
Yeah.
One at the tribunal, then on March 15, 2006, the Court of Appeal dismissed the PDP and Dr. Ngeza appeal. And it paved the way for people to be running on March 17th. That's how ABGA arrived. And since then, we've gummed ourselves to the states.
Despite all attempts to approve.
Deal with
but the question is, what is ABGA doing to at least spread its tentacles to at least all the other states in the south? At least to make, if not a national party, have the semblance of a regional party. The Igbos are the same everywhere, from Anambra to Imo, from Imo to Abia. So why is it impossible for ABGA?
We have been winning.
In the Southeast
we have been winning. The same story had been the case where the PDP at the center then never allowed ABGA to spread. They keep stealing our victories, suppressing us using police, army, and INEC.
But you won in Imo.
Yes, in 2011.
2011.
You're not telling the story. We've been spreading. In 2011, we went to Imo and got Imo State. I was national chairman there. I was in the battlefront also, being assaulted by soldiers and police, but I held on to that lead we got. Went into the supplementary pool and won. That's how Rochas Okorocha became governor. And 2 years after, he betrayed the party and moved away. So that's
if I have the time, I'm going to be asking you something on that.
Yeah, very good. In 2015,
this issue of you campaign on the platform of a political party,
you win,
and then a few months after, without any crisis in the party, you walk away with the mandate to another platform.
Very unfortunate.
So, what we need to do about it, since we are still in the mood of tinkering with our electoral process, would you like to answer the question right now?
Let me also show you that we have been spreading, because in 2015 we won the governorship election landslide in Abia State through Dr. Lex Oti. In an election where ABGA candidates won in 14 local governments out of 17 local governments in Abia State. Then the PDP then, true to their muzzling of ABGA, using the federal might, went to 2 local governments, Obingwa local government area, and wrote 82,000 votes out of 86,000 registered voters in that local government. Which was against
the trend of the
turnout was about 10%.
Already established in the other
yes, at the time they did it, we were leading already. In the 14 local government, we were leading with 60-something thousand votes. The margins, the total voter turnout were about just 10-15% at that time. So ABGA will score 50,000, PDP will score 8,000, in that range. So when they saw that they have lost the election, they went to Obingwa and wrote 82,000 votes out of 86,000 registered voters. They went to another local government, the Osisioma local government area, wrote 42,000, and in each case they gave ABGA 1,000. So that's how they wiped out. And incidentally, the returning officer in that election had cancelled that Obingwa, not local government area, rejected it, and they decided on him. The PDP stalwarts in government then besieged the returning officer, manhandled the rec, Mrs. Rose, I think Rosalyn Okoso, I think Rose, not the one in the Senate, the woman, then beat the returning an assault led by the then governor of the state, the national public secretary of PDP. It was televised. So the man resisted them. The next day, he reversed himself and accepted a result because it was from nowhere, from the blues. You know,
There were fears.
if you prepared a bar chart of
that would
the
be
election,
the two
in
local
the whole
governments would seem odd.
yes, the one will be Kilimanjaro Mountain. That's Obingwa. That's where the bar will go to. Osama will also be Mount Everest. Others will be just below Olumoro. So that's what they did.
There were fears that the same thing was likely to happen when Ihiala was also declared when the election was declared.
No election. Yes.
Inconclusive because everybody didn't hold in Ihiala.
Yes.
And there were 140,000 votes at stake.
148,000.
And some of your opponents were actually saying they would win the election because they were banking on maybe something similar to Osisioma.
We tried to cover everybody. The story about Ihiala had not been told to anybody completely because on Saturday there was an attempt by APC to smuggle a result of about 80,000 in Ihiala. If you saw the EO, he was wearing bandage. They beat him up there and the whole thing was arrested. Because materials were still at the INEC headquarters in Ihiala. Material never went to the polling units. And suddenly somebody tried to ferry in a result. So they nearly cut off his hand. Eventually,
that story has not been told, really.
It's not been told. So let them keep it. Let them keep burying. The important thing and the right thing has been done. Because INEC opposed the whole thing. They didn't cooperate. And that one was nipped on the bud. And INEC had to reschedule the election in Ihiala. Because all the ballot papers and the materials, everything were still in the local government. How did the result emanate from somewhere? So that one has been closed and dealt with. So on the day of the rescheduled poll on the 9th of November, aware of what happened in Bingwa, in Ihiala local government, I set off. I went to Ihiala myself.
Yeah, but so that's prevented though.
Yeah,
that was what was.
They said I will not enter the local government headquarters, but I said I'm in Ihiala to monitor and observe. I wasn't there as a collection agent. The GOC said you are state collection agent. You cannot come to local government. I said I told him that this period is not collection. They are still sharing material, so observers will be there. The collection starts in the night. Yeah. I won't be there in the night, but I want to observe and see what was happening. So he said, no, you cannot, because they're afraid of my cap. So,
so you have to
they knew that I have come to torpedo any fraud they will be contriving. So I told him, okay, I will go into the town and stay and monitor the exercise. So I went into Ihiala. I stayed there till 7 p.m. I was coordinating with my party people in the various wards in the local government. So getting reports from them. And at some point, a report was made about talks in the house of one stakeholder of APC, where they were planning something. I quickly called the election commissioner of police that was in here local government. Each local government had a commissioner of police in charge. So I had to reach out to him through the DPO. They mobilized and went there, stormed the place and carried everybody away. So these were the efforts we made to ensure that nothing happened. Alas, in the end, when they were boasting that they were going to use 148,000 to overturn the election, APC scored 343 votes by the evening. So that's how the election was salvaged.
The election generally turned out to be more like a walk in the park for ABGA.
Yes.
Even though the turnout, we'll come to the issue of the turnout, but like I said, more like a walk in the park for your party. Yeah. If you put the votes of your two main opponents the PDP and the APC together,
yes,
ABGA's vote still
was ahead of them.
Still ahead of them
by
over 15,000.
Yes. Is it a surprise to you, Benga? I was here now. Have you forgotten that we discussed this issue ahead of the election? I told you that ABGA will win. And ABGA will sweep the polls again. That I'm hinging my confidence on the service record of the party, the scorecard of the party in the state. That's what I told you. And I told you that our people are generally wise people. They're not people who deceive propaganda. And the more they will be determined to keep you at bay.
Because I have incidents of bribe voters. Case of the case of a woman who rejected
5,000. She rejected 5,000.
Yes.
Because the APC came to give her 5,000. APC people, and she said she will never. Once she had that name APC, he said she will never. She will prefer dying than to take that money. That she will vote her conscience, and nobody can influence her. A poor woman, very poor woman, and she badged her way, and went and voted for the party of her choice, and of course ABGA. You will see that on Thursday last week when we had a Thanksgiving service at the governor's residence, the woman was brought there, and the governor rewarded her with 1 million naira. Somebody who rejected 5,000 naira to vote her conscience got 1 million naira, and a pat on the back of the ward chairman with 200,000. So this is the type of thing to promote, and that was a shocker to people who were thinking that they can buy everybody. You could see that run up to the election, we started witnessing defections from ABGA to APC, and they were coming here to parade them in Abuja. When they catch somebody, they bring it to Abuja and parade him. I was laughing very heartily. I said, these people don't know where you are going to.
So what because of all those people? One of them, a member of the House of Assembly in the state, said he never at any time resigned. He never at any time to come to our APC.
It is time for them to now say, oh, I never cross-carpeted at the floor of the House. Only those who announced their defection at the floor of the House are those to be counted. That he only appeared in a Imo house in Abuja, where they took photographs. Did you see me announcing anything? It was being smart. But those who crossed over body and soul are there now like fish out of water. They're wondering what has happened to them.
For those who are still holding legislative seats, what would the party do to them?
Well, the law is very clear that
Except
anybody.
that it's not the party that can declare their seats.
I was watching Honorable Justice Bode Rosevivos, retired Justice of the Supreme Court.
At his valedictory?
Yeah, no, it was an interview he granted, not at valedictory.
Okay.
He said, why should INEC wait for a court order to organize a by-election in respect of a constituency where somebody who won an election in another party joined another party? But the Supreme Court has since decided that it is illegal, and anybody who leaves automatically should vacate his seat at the parliament. Is INEC that should go
Except
and...
that there's a constitutional provision that seat has to be declared vacant first by the presiding officer.
No, just
and in some cases where the presiding officer's party has been the beneficiary, it's a difficult thing to do.
No. It is an operation of the law. The Supreme Court has given a judgment on such matter that if you leave your party through which you won an election to go to the parliament, you have left your seat. You have vacated your seat by pronouncement.
Does that obliterate the clear wordings of the Constitution?
No, the presiding officer must go by the decision of the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is final on such matters. If it makes a pronouncement, it binds everybody, all authorities and persons, including the presiding officers in the National Assembly. Once the court makes a determination, whether you are Senate President or Speaker House of Representatives, you are bound to implement a decision made by the court. Doesn't matter what your affiliation is. So it's just that INEC will pretend that they didn't hear. And they went to go to court to order INEC to conduct a by-election. Rosevivos said it is absolutely wrong. Like, you don't need that anymore. So if INEC goes ahead, in fact, it's INEC actually that will declare the seat vacant as the body that is charged with conducting of elections into positions. So if they see that evidence that somebody has left his party through which he won that election in their records, he has gone somewhere else, they will declare the seat vacant by operation of the judgment of the Supreme Court on such acts. So if they schedule a by-election, the only thing you will do is to go and challenge it in court. If you go to court, they will bring the Supreme Court judgment and they will be thrown away.
Should that apply to those holding executive positions? Because that statement will probably be maybe in respect of those holding legislative seats. Nothing was said in the Constitution about anybody holding elective executive position. Like
Well,
a state
yes,
governor.
you will notice that in the case of Atiku Abubakar, when he was vice president to Olusegun Obasanjo as president in 2003, he joined the Action Congress and became their presidential candidate. The matter was taken to court, and it got to the Supreme Court, where the Supreme Court delivered a judgment that he does not need to leave his office as vice president. So there is a precedent in the case of executive positions. But for parliament, lawmakers, the Supreme Court had said it cannot happen.
You know, I raised the question much earlier, and I said I was going to ask it properly again. Yeah. That was when we were looking at Rochas winning election on the platform of ABGA, and then months after taking that mandate to another political party. We've seen it even worse in Bauchi that time. I think it was in 2015 or so.
Yeah.
When a what's the name of that governor now, who was elected? It was a bitter battle, electoral battle between the PDP and the. Would it be APC that time? I'm not so sure whether it was APC.
The governor defected?
Yes. In fact, a few days after he was sworn in, simply because he then became in-law to the sitting president. He had married the daughter of the sitting president.
We don't need to go far. Governor Ayade of Cross River has defected from PDP to APC as a governor, elected to PDP. Yeah. Governor Mahi has also defected from PDP to APC, as having been elected through PDP.
Shouldn't this also be declared constitutional aberration?
No, it's a constitutional aberration, and it's a sign of moral bankruptcy on the part of politicians who do such thing. Such prostitution should be forbidden in all letters of the Constitution. You know, you cannot go and seek the mandate from the people through a political party that they identify with, they share in its ideology, its philosophy, its manifestos. Then you get in and jump ship. That is 419. You know, you say,
political
please, political 419, please vote for me. The question would have been, if they had been in that party, would they have won that election? If they had contested the election through the party they defected to, at the time,
particularly where the margin is wide.
Yes. So how can you do that?
Which meant that the people saw the two parties and they actually wanted this one.
Exactly.
And then you won.
It is like.
Thank you so much for your patience to watch from the beginning to the end. I hope you have learned something from the video you have just watched. The video you have just watched is to bring information to your doorstep and for educational purpose. It is not to demonize anybody. Let us watch continuously and see who can be able to make a sense out of every nonsense we are seeing. We must continue. We move. It doesn't matter what they do. It doesn't matter what they say. They will kill us. We will kill them. At the end of the day, Biafra is here. Thank you for watching. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please kindly subscribe to the channel. Click the notification bell so that you're notified each time I upload a video. You will be among the first to receive it. Thank you and remain blessed. Bye-bye. See you again.